In the very architecture of our digital future, there are three massive forces, and they're locked in this constant hidden war: decentralization, security, and scalability. Together, they form this delicate, almost impossible structure.
So what if the very foundation we're building on, the one we're betting our future on, is designed with an inherent, inescapable flaw? Because here's the thing, when you push really hard for one of these ideals, say incredible speed, another one, maybe that core principle of decentralization, it just starts to buckle. And if you strive for absolute bulletproof security, well, performance often grinds to a halt. It's a system that's literally designed to be in a constant state of tension. This fundamental challenge, the one that was first really laid out for everyone by Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin, it has a name. It is the core puzzle that every single crypto project has to try and solve. It's the Blockchain Trilemma. See, it's not about having it all. It's about making a choice. It's about deciding what you are willing to give up to get what you really want. This video on the channel Blocks Bonds Funds is created for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial or investment advice. Okay, let's dive into this. To really get why this trade-off is such a big deal, we first need to break down what each of these three pillars actually mean. First up, we have decentralization. This is the heart and soul of blockchain. It's the whole point. Instead of one single bank or some big corporation calling the shots, power is spread out across a global network of computers. This is what makes the system open, permissionless, and pretty much impossible to censor. No one person can shut it down or just decide to change the rules. Next, security. Think of this as the fortress wall around the entire network. It's the system's ability to fight off attackers who might want to create fake money or, rewrite history. It uses a combination of some heavy-duty cryptography and really clever economic incentives to make sure that once a transaction is confirmed, it's final, it's locked in and tamper-proof. And finally, scalability. This is all about performance. It's about throughput. Can the network handle a massive wave of users all at once? Think about Visa. They process thousands of transactions every single second. For blockchain to really go mainstream, it has to be fast and it has to be affordable, not sluggish and crazy expensive. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. You've got these three amazing, desirable goals, but they all pull in opposite directions. When you optimize for one, you almost always have to make a sacrifice somewhere else. Let's see how this actually plays out. So let's start with decentralization versus scalability. The more independent computers you have running the network, which is amazing for decentralization, the more time it takes for all of them to talk to each other and agree on everything. I mean, imagine a committee of 10,000 people trying to decide where to get lunch versus just 10 people. The big group is way more democratic, but it's also going to be much, much slower. Okay, so what if you want lightning-fast transaction speeds? Well, to process a ton of data really quickly, you usually need incredibly powerful, super expensive computer hardware. And that high cost to even play the game, it prices out the average person. They can't afford to be a validator. So power starts to concentrate in the hands of a few wealthy players who can afford the gear. As you gain all that scalability, you start to lose decentralization. And here's a weird paradox with security. Yeah, having thousands of participants makes a brute force attack ridiculously expensive and basically impossible, but a bigger, more complex network can also introduce new, more subtle weak spots. A system that's more spread out and intricate can actually be harder to secure from every single possible angle, which means you get a larger potential attack surface. Now, this isn't just theory. Every major blockchain out there today represents a different strategic choice on how to deal with the trilemma. Let's look at a couple of clear examples to make this really concrete. First, you've got the original, Bitcoin. It made a very clear choice to prioritize decentralization and security above everything else. And the result? An incredibly robust, censorship-resistant network that has run non-stop for over a decade. But that trade-off is obvious. With a capacity of only about 5 to 7 transactions a second, it deliberately sacrificed scalability. Then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have a chain like Solana. It was engineered from day one for pure performance. It prioritizes scalability to handle tens of thousands of transactions per second for things like high-frequency trading and gaming. But that intense focus has led to these ongoing debates about its level of decentralization and its network stability when you compare it to its slower cousins. And this table just brilliantly illustrates that difference in philosophy. Just look at Ethereum and Solana side by side. Ethereum is trying to be this highly decentralized and secure global settlement layer, where being verifiably correct is more important than raw speed.
Solana, with its unique proof of history consensus, is optimizing to be a super high-performance layer for apps that need instant transactions and cheap fees. Neither one is objectively better, they just represent totally different choices in how to navigate the trilemma.
So, does this mean we're just stuck? Absolutely not. The crucial point here is that this isn't a static problem. The entire industry is this hotbed of innovation, with brilliant engineers working on all kinds of new ways to ease these trade-offs and strike a better balance. Probably one of the most promising approaches is something called Layer 2 scaling solutions. The idea is simple, but it's really powerful. Instead of trying to cram every single little transaction onto the main blockchain, which is slow but secure, you create an express lane that runs on top of it. This Layer 2 handles thousands of transactions fast and cheap, and then it bundles them all up and records a single compressed proof back down to that secure Layer 1. You basically get the best of both worlds. You get the high speed from Layer 2, anchored by the rock-solid security of Layer 1. And the innovation just doesn't stop there. Developers are exploring all sorts of things, like sharding, which splits the network's workload into parallel chains, and modular blockchains, where different layers specialize in specific jobs, like execution or data. Even the big industry-wide shift from proof of work to the more energy-efficient proof of stake, that's a move designed to rebalance this triangle. So, at the end of the day, what the industry is learning is that the trilemma might not be something you can solve like a simple math problem. Instead, it's this persistent set of trade-offs that you just have to manage skillfully. The goal isn't to build one perfect system that does everything, but to engineer the most intelligent and effective balance for a specific purpose. And that leaves us with one last crucial question. As these systems keep evolving and become the foundation for more and more of our digital lives, the choices they make matter more than ever. So when you think about the future, which corner of that triangle do you think is most important? Is it unstoppable decentralization, impenetrable security, or world-scale performance? The answer to that question is really going to define what comes next.